Morning guys, how you doing? Hope you're good. Friday vibes. So hopefully you're looking forward to the weekend with your family, etc. So today, very quickly, as soon as you come on and you start watching, will you please just hit the blue like button? Let me know that you're here. Give a little comment. Tell me where you're from. Tell me how your day's going. What you got planned for the weekend. Whatever you want to tell me. But engaged. Okay. So like and share. If you're on the podcast, please do just take a few seconds to review the podcast as soon as it's finished. It takes a few seconds, but I massively appreciate it. Thank you so much. So, who are you? A question I had to ask myself on a few occasions. Right now, I know who I am. I'm the dad's coach. I'm James Boardman. I'm 40 years old. I have 3 kids. I'm specialising in helping men and dads take charge of their lives again, building up structure, building up routine, building up health, getting balance in their life, controlling the mental thoughts, the mental well-being. But that didn't always used to be me. And it's taken a very long time to figure out exactly who I am. Morning, Rich. Once upon a time, I was Sergeant James Boardman, or Sergeant Boardman. Royal Marine Commando sniper, physical training instructor. And that type of personality and that type of person was a very, very different guy to the James Boardman of the dad coach today. And for 9 years, I went through Royal Marine Commando training, then become a Royal Marine Commando, then become a Royal Marine Commando sniper, then a Royal Marine Commando physical trainer, and then on to sub-adventure training instructor. And that was my life, that was my passion. I knew exactly what my role was. I knew exactly what I was passionate about. I knew exactly what I wanted out of life. All the way through, I had always planned to stay in the military for 22 years, right through, and finish my service. I knew what I wanted, I knew what my goals were. And how I saw the world was very different to the way that I see the world today and how I would develop myself today. And I spent 9 years, which is a very long time. It's a big chapter in that role. I then made the decision to leave that role, that identity, to then be home with my children, because I was sick and tired of doing 800 mile round trips home over a weekend just to see my kids for a day and a half and my wife at the time. And I had to make that decision, and I did. If any of this resonates with you at any point at all, please do let me know in the comments box below. So when I decided to leave, I was suddenly plunged into a new environment, into a new world. And I was no longer James Boardman, Sergeant James Boardman of Royal Marine Commandos. I was just James Boardman. Okay. And I was suddenly a teacher to kids who didn't care about their education. My values, my wants, my goals, how I saw the world suddenly became very different. My past personality, as in terms of being a Royal Marine Commando, was still etched in me, but it didn't have a place in my new environment. Okay, the language that I used, the actions that I took, the way that I saw the world, they were kind of all ingrained through roots via being in the Royal Marine Commandos. And as I went into my new role, they weren't there. It wasn't meant to be. That's not how, the role was meant to be fulfilled. And for 3 years, from leaving the Royal Marines for about a 3-year period, I didn't know who I was. I was kind of lost. I didn't know what I stood for. I didn't know what I wanted. I didn't know what my purposes were anymore. I didn't know what my passions were anymore. 1 minute I was engaged in this establishment, which was the Royal Marines. I had worked really hard with the training. I'd worked really hard with to develop who I was and what I stood for, and my ethos and my morals. And then all of a sudden, I exploded into Civvy Street, and I was lost. A lost little boy in a big world. and all I knew was not acceptable or suitable for civilian street. You know, you train to 1 minute be a killer and go to war, the next minute, you know, you are teaching. And the biggest thing that I look at was my transition was only 48 hours. I left the military on the Friday, and then I joined the college on the Monday. So the whole of my life, then what am I supposed to suddenly turn into this new person on Monday? Which is what's caused me massive overwhelm, massive stress, PTSD, the trauma of going through this change just like that. And it's no wonder I fell down. It's no wonder that I crumbled. It's no wonder I turned to drink. It's no wonder that I didn't exercise. It's no wonder I lost my mind. And slowly went downhill, right? And they were my difficulties, trying to understand where I fitted in the world, trying to keep together a marriage that had just really been based on seeing each other at weekends, and then suddenly coming back together and being together full time. Suddenly trying to deal with not having the drive that I was given in the Royal Marines. You know, I was given that drive, I was given that impetus to go and succeed, go and drive, where I was just stuck in an office where there was no ambition, no drive, you know, and I kind of lost. And how I transitioned from that difficult period to the dad coach today was that I went out and ventured into business for myself and followed my passion, which was fitness. I'd been a Royal Marine Commando physical trainer at the very highest level of training and fitness in the Royal Marines, and I wanted to take that and I wanted to put that to the public and help them. So I created my own boot camp, and I built up my boot camp over 5 years, and I started becoming somebody again. I started to grow an identity again, and that identity was brought about by learning how to run a business, by interacting with people, by giving them joy, by giving them success, by giving them accomplishment. And by doing that, that allowed me to be able to feel proud again, to be passionate again, to have purpose again. It allowed me to become ambitious again, have wants again. And as I grew, you know, this slowly built up my confidence in how I saw the world. I was then in a position where I wanted to work online with men who had been in a position that I'd been in. You know, lost, frustrated, stressed, overwhelmed, neglecting themselves. They may have everything. They may have a really successful job. They might be a CEO. They might be an executive. Fuck me, they could be a milkman or a postman. You don't know. But we were people that wanted to be fit but couldn't quite be fit because there wasn't enough focus, there wasn't enough structure, there wasn't enough planning, there wasn't enough like passion or purpose or fulfillment. So I dived into online, and I call myself James Boardman, fitness and lifestyle coach. And again, trying to build up my identity, I just seemed to everyone else as just another PT trying to sell programs to everybody. So I call myself the dad coach, and the dad coach represents everything I stand for: integrity, honesty, drive, passion, success, motivation, inspiration, all of those things. And that is the guy that I'm becoming today, and that's the guy that I try to be with all my high-level clients, to my brotherhood clients, to talking and giving you guys free advice and guidance based on my own experiences. So I today, the person I am is who I've created over that long period of time. Since 2003, since I joined the Royal Marines, to 2018, okay, there's been a few identities. The Royal Marine one, my lost period, my building up my boot camp, to now being super successful, helping guys deliver in their business, helping guys deliver in their health delivering their mindset, okay, and creating a much better world. And I have a much better vision of the world. I know what my wants are. I know where I want to be long term, medium term, and short term. But that has taken a long time to come to terms with, and how to figure out, right? And why is identity so important? I think identity is so important because unless we know who we are, unless we know what we want out of life, unless we know what our passions are, what our purposes are, what our drive is, what our obsession is, unless we know what we can achieve and what we can stand for, then we will never do that. We will just sit on our laurels, we will sit on our backsides, we will bury our head in the sand. We can't face up to the fact that we are not living the life that we want to. And there is a large amount of people that won't listen to that and won't accept that. And I understand that. That's because they're very insecure, that's because they're afraid. And there are a large amount of people that go, fuck me, he's got that down to a T and that is me. There are two different concepts here. Ones that won't accept it, ones that open up and change. And these ones here, these run for the hills and bury their heads and continue to do that forever. And think that they're all right, but they're not. Just like I did. And then there's people here who go, yes, let's go. Let's fucking roll. I need some help. Let's do this. Okay? And we go off and we do it. And these sort of things will affect you. Your lack of identity is going to affect your confidence. It's going to affect your mindset. It's going to affect your health. It's going to affect your future. So all the decisions that you make are all going to be based on, right now, on your identity and who you stand for. And if you think about your transition, you go into your late teens, you go to college, you go to university, it's just party time, having fun. There are no real worries in the world. And then we come back to it, and then you've got to find a job, and you're kind of going through that job, that bachelor type of guy up to about 27, 28. Then you go into the next chapter of life because you meet somebody and you end up becoming very close, and you're not doing things by yourself anymore with the lads, you're doing them with your partner. So things are changing, friendships are changing, the way that you're thinking is changing. You don't think about mortgages and children, so you suddenly have a mortgage and children. But this is where your identity is affected. Sorry, I'm just checking time. This is where your identity is affected. Because now you have responsibilities. Now it's not just you, your car, and your mates. It's now you, your car, your mortgage, your job. And suddenly you're looking over your shoulder, making sure you're not losing your job. Looking over your shoulder, making sure that the money's coming in. Looking over your shoulder, making sure that the kids and the wife are supported. And you go through this period usually between sort of 32 and 40. And by the time we get to 40, we're pretty washed out. Because we're stressing or we are just missing something inside of us. There's a void in our brain or our bodies. And a large amount of you are missing identity. You don't know quite who you are because you spent so long concentrating on your job, getting to the top, or trying to keep a job, trying to be the dad, trying to be the husband, trying to be the leader, trying to be the strong one for everyone else, that you, along amongst it all, have forgotten who you are and what you stand for. And you just don't know where to go from there, which is where I come in. Slap you around the face, not literally, but go through and structure your life again. Start working out who you are again. Start working out what your passion is again. Start getting yourself fit again. Start being happy with the mirror again. Because as soon as you creep in, as soon as you get into the 40s, those feelings escalate even more because you again go through another chapter of your life questioning who you are. So we're going to wrap this up. So I've got here a couple of tasks that I want you to do. There are 4 questions that I want you to answer. And these things are really a self-awareness tool. They are questions that I would sort of ask my high-level clients to think about for 24 hours to answer, okay? And they're simple, they're basic, but what you have to start doing is engaging your brain with those questions, and we start figuring out something about yourself. Okay, the first one is, what makes you happy? Okay, so what makes you happy? Don't just tell me the first thing that comes to your head. What you have to do is figure out what really makes you happy. So when you think in your head, what's that thing that makes me smile, makes me laugh, makes me feel warm and glowy? Okay, you have to think about that. You've got 24 hours, remember, so take your time. Question 2 is, what's your purpose? What's your purpose for being alive and on this planet and waking up every single morning? Okay, what is your purpose? Okay, what's your passions? What are you passionate about? Okay, what are you passionate about? You know, I often think of footballers and how passionate they are for their football team. They're like, I see them when they're cheering the goal and they're like, okay, come on, like that. That's passion. What are you passionate about? Okay, and the last one is, what are you going to do about the rut that you are in right now? Okay, what are you going to do about it? Okay, and that's something that I want you to spend 24 hours thinking about doing, okay, about answering, but not in your head. You're going to get a piece of paper and you're going to write that shit down. And you're going to write it down in as much depth as possible, because what it's going to do is actually going to be your next step. It's going to be your action plan for the next 12 weeks. Boom, and you're straight in. All right, guys, that's what I do with my 12-week high-level clients. Answer those 4 questions, work out some goals, bang, and we work to those goals. So listen, I want you to do those 4 questions. I want you to write them down. If you want to share them with me, then inbox me and share them with me. And I can give you some guidance on them if you need to. All right, guys, thanks for listening. If you are listening on the podcast, please do drop a share right now, this second. If you're listening on Facebook or LinkedIn, please do like and drop a share. I'd massively appreciate it. Thank you.